Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. It's been a while, I guess. We missed last week, so it's been a couple weeks. Hopefully everybody's good and having a good summer. This is Stamping A to Z for those of you who are new. It is a series I created to walk you through our wonderful catalog, help you find out what's in it, how to use everything that's in it, and different ways to use all those wonderful tools that we have. It can be very intimidating. I also usually show different techniques and ways to use things. We're going a little rogue today. I don't have all my stuff here. I'm back at home, but I left most of my stuff back at the lake. So I'm going to go through a bundle today instead of continuing on my usual techniques, which I think I was on to watercolor crayons. So that will be coming up soon. But today I'm kind of veering from the usual. I wanted to show you this bundle, partly because I myself missed it when I was going through the catalog and ordering stuff, and a customer of mine asked me about it and I hadn't even noticed it, and then I realized that this is a really cool special new bundle. It's not your usual bundle. Yes, it's usual in that it has flowers and it has words. It not only comes with, I don't know if you can see that, it comes with the stamp set, dies, and an embossing folder. And it's called a hybrid embossing folder, and I will show you why in a minute. So for the whole bundle, it's $72. You can buy them by pieces and parts. So if you don't have a big boss or a mini boss, obviously it would be difficult to use the dies in the embossing folder, but you can still use the stamps, which have many. It's a two-step stamp set also. So I will go through and show you all of that. I just wanted to mention also, since July 1st, we have our designer series paper sale. They are 15% off. It's only these selected sets that are 15% off. So it's mostly the ones that are normally $15.75. And then there's this one that's normally $29 that's on for $24.65. And it's a huge package of paper, super neutral. It's a really good one. So if you had any of your eyes on these, make sure you take a look at those and get your hands on them before the beginning of August so you can get those on sale. Moving on. Okay, so this is the stamp set, and I will just show you the stamping part of it, how it kind of comes. So it does have, I have stuck them to, they come with a, I should get the pieces. They usually come on these clear plastic pieces, and then this piece is on top, but then it jiggles around and I find them hard to peel. So what I did was I peeled them off of here, set that aside. You can always use that for other projects. And then I just stick it where it shows it is on the, and then keep this to put on top just so it keeps it clean and sticky for you. Same with this other side. So there's a ton of stamp sets in this set. So the thing to note with the flowers, it's kind of cool. They are the set of 3 all in one. So they're actually attached together, which makes it super fast and easy to cut them out, because then you get all 3 flowers at once. But they cut out as 3 separate flowers, which is kind of cool. So I'm just going to take a piece of paper to show me when I put it there right here. I've got, I'm using my Stamparatus, which I've showed before. I'm using the deluxe pad because it is a photopolymer stamp, so it's easier to get a good impression. Where did my Memento? So I'm going to use Memento ink here. Really, you could use any color. Actually, I probably should have used it. Anyways, we'll go with black on this one. Usually I put something underneath this to give it some stability, but okay. And the nice thing with the Stamparatus is if you don't get a good impression, you can go back and do it again. I'm just gonna make this, I see I got some black. Don't want to get that on my hands and paper. Okay, so as you can see, you've got your 3 flowers. Now you've got many options. Boo, what's boo, Marcy? Oh, boo is in hi. I thought you meant boo is in you're not happy. Guess you could take that in many ways. Okay, let me know. Are you unhappy or are you just boo is in hi? Hopefully it's boo is in hi. Maybe don't answer if it's not. Okay, so then we've got these. So as you, I'm using my paper pumpkin blocks. They're not my usual nicely edged blocks, just because all my blocks are not here with me. So if you want to do 2-step stamping, this is what you would use, is the inner part of the flower. And then you just need, where did my, oh, right in front of my nose. So I'm just gonna take, say, Bermuda Bay. I have my old ink pads here, and I'm just gonna figure out which flower is which before we go into this. Okay, so this one fits here. And then I'm just gonna ink it up. And if you're not sure, oh, I should have, I'll have a piece of scrap paper out. Silly me. Okay, if you wanna see how dark it's gonna stamp, like if you wanna stamp it off, just kind of test it, which it's really, it's kind of like a washed out look, so you can do a full stamping. Sorry, pardon my head. So in this case, instead of doing a Memento black, you could do the Bermuda Bay on Bermuda Bay. So I'll just, let me redo that. Because the black is more, if you're gonna, I mean, you could totally color in your flowers with blends or markers or whatever, watercolor them, whatever you want to do. This one I just wanted to show you the actual stamp set. So let's just try this again. I think my ink pads are probably a little dry. I haven't used these ones in a very long time, especially without having any in-person classes. They were kind of my secondary set, but they're still inking, which is awesome. Some of these ink pads are so old. I mean, I've been doing Stampin' Up for over 14 years, and so some of these are a good 14 years old. Some of them I've never re-inked. Okay, oops. So now you can see the difference. If I go full strength with this flower, it'll just look a little bit lighter. And then you kind of have that tone on tone kind of washed look. You could do, last week I showed you the watercolor stamping where you spritz your stamp and then stamp it on, and then it gives you kind of, I don't know if I have a spritzer, I don't even have watercolor pens, but all you could do is you just stamp this, and then you can either use a water painter or spritz it with water and then just stamp it, and then it kind of just washes really nice. So that's another really cool look. So if you only have the stamp set, there's also the leaves. So the leaves have the 2 steps as well. And there's 2 different leaves. Let me show you. I would prefer it if it was on a smaller block, but we'll just go with it here. Okay, and then the second step, I think it goes this way-ish. So this one's a little bit darker. You might want to stamp it off. Let's try it with this other leaf here. then this time, I think because my stamp pad is fairly juicy, we'll just stamp it off and then we'll put there. So yeah, so if your ink is really juicy, you might want to stamp it off. But like I said, just always have a test piece of paper and test it out before you go and stamp it down, and then you know kind of what you're doing. So there's those leaves. There's also this beautiful, where did it go? Huh. Oh, here it is. Buried. See, I throw my stuff around and then I bury it. There's these cool kind of lines. Let me find another piece of paper. Let's set this aside. Okay, we'll use a different color. And so you could do some, ooh, it's stuck to my table. You can do some pretty cool, my ink spots I bought. Oh, they've dried out. Oh yeah, I just didn't have enough blocks, so I flipped them on either side. It works well, especially if you're doing, and then you can still see through, right? And you're not getting, although you do have to be careful that you're not putting your fingers in on the stamps when they're inked and then getting it on your work, because I have done that. So this is a really good one also to use on the Stamparatus, because you could step it down as you go, and you could have like a whole sheet of print. These are two separate stamps, so you could do all dots, you could do all stripes. But yeah, it's a really cool set. It has lots of different pieces and parts to it. So that's the stamping portion of it. I didn't use all of the stamps, but a good portion of them. So the next step up from that would be to stamp, oh, so you can cut them out. Where did my sheet go now? You can cut these out with the die, so it comes just like the stamp set. So it's totally easy. There's no guesswork as to whether your flowers are in the right place or your die, because you just stamp and go. Well, they didn't dry out. Well, that's awesome, because those stamping spots aren't sealed as well. So do you store them upside down or you store them upright? Anyways, so you can cut it out and you have flat flowers, but let me show you what you can do if you have the dies and the embossing folder. So we've got our paper again. I'm going to stamp it again. Put the stamp pad underneath, or your stamp container or whatever you call it under. It's a good holder for that. Okay, so we've stamped our flowers. Pretend you've colored them in if you want them colored in, and then you can take this. Actually, I'm just going to close these because otherwise I'm going to stick. I'll drop my paper in it, or I'll stick my hands in it. Okay, so this is the embossing folder. It's called the Bloom Hybrid Embossing Folder. So now you can put it in here, and it's easy to line up, although, as you can see, I have to trim my paper because otherwise I can't quite get it angled enough just the way I stamped it. So if you want to have everything lined up on a solid piece of paper and you're not taking it apart, you might want to line up your flowers on your Stamparatus so that it stamps it in the center of your piece. But I'm just gonna take my snips here and I'll just cut this down. Hopefully that's enough to, I don't know if you guys can see this or not, why I had to cut it. But yeah, so when I stamped it at an angle, obviously. And then I have my old Big Shot here, since my new one's still at the lake. So I've got the 3D, I don't think I call this, it's not written 3D, but it's a hybrid, it's as thick as a 3D. So I just sandwich it like a 3D folder. And then I'm gonna run it through. So here we're just using it as an embossing folder. We are not using the hybrid portion of it, which I will show you in a second. Okay, so now I have my beautiful flowers, pretend they're colored. They're popped up and there's all these beautiful leaves around it. Isn't that beautiful? Like, it really makes it pop. So one step further, let's take this one since it's hasn't been done yet. Now if we want to use the hybrid, I gotta cut it again. What you'll see is the dies, this was actually designed to cut and emboss at the same time. So if you put these the right way, you can see that it lines up perfectly, like so. And then when, like, I can put it down and there's grooves. So it's not actually cutting into your plastic, it's just cutting your paper, but it was designed to go that way. So the easiest way is to get your dies, there's kind of like a groove. So you can see if I push on it, it's not moving, but then you have to hold it down and you have to line up your flowers. So let me get that back in there. And then I'm going to line up my flowers like so. I'm going to close my folder, make sure nothing has moved. And then you're going to run it through the exact same way, through your Big Boss, Big Shot, whatever you've got. And as you can see, you don't need the Big Boss to make this work. You can use anything that's used for cutting dies and embossing works. Sorry, my plot keeps falling over. So as you can see, you lift it up and your flowers are all pre-cut. And not only are they pre-cut, they are embossed as well. So you get these beautifully embossed and cut out flowers. Cool, right? I thought that was super neat. It's kind of like the seashell one, but the seashell one, don't cut it that way. I don't think it even fits if you try. They're meant to be cut together, like they all fit, but they're not meant to be cut inside one another. So don't try this with other ones because they're not meant to. So unless it says hybrid, which I believe this is the only one right now, don't cut it in that way. But yeah, I totally missed this set and it's so cool. And the other part too is it comes with, so it has the little flower cutouts. It has 2 of the leaves. So we had stamped, oh, I think I just cut it out. So these leaves, there's 2 of them. So you can do 2 at a time. And there's 2 of the smaller ones as well. So you can cut them out at the same time. And then there's 2 labels. And the labels are nice because you can cut out the words with them. So here I have cut out, this is like the big do-it-all all with everything with the set. So here I took some smoky slate and embossed just the background, and then kind of like what I just showed you, I stamped, and then this wasn't, so I stamped with Memento ink and then I colored it with our blends. So that's not the two-step stamping. These leaves, however, are two-step stamping. There's also, oh, how come it's not on here? I was playing with the leaves yesterday and apparently I didn't put it back. Okay, well there's two different of these cutout leaves that have the nice texture to them, which I will have to find the dies. So there's those as well, and then there's these little flower cutouts, and then here's that strip. So with the Stamparatus, you could stamp this way, or you can stamp, like you could stamp rows of it, but even just one piece of it's kind of nice. And then this is the little label that fits perfectly with the "Thanks for making me happy," which is one of the pieces. And then I believe if you look, so I don't know if you guys know, when, so there, if you look at the stamp sets and they have a die set that goes with, it has this colored area here. So wherever it's got this kind of more beigey pinky color, it has dies that cut those out. So this one shows you that the Never Not Loving You fits this perfectly. I mean, obviously the Dear Friend and this one too would probably fit. And then the long one is for the longer, but you could even put Dear Friend in there and just, I don't know if you guys know how to shorten a label. Let me show you a trick in case you don't know. Okay, so I'm going to take a piece and then I'm going to take, let's do the Dear Friend here. I had one more block. It's a little bit big, but hey, it'll do. Just use smoky slate. Try not to get ink all over the block. Not because it's, I mean, it's easy to wash off, it just makes more of a mess. So I'm gonna put it over here because I'm gonna cut one end close to begin with, and then I'll show you what to do with the other end. So now I'm gonna take my label die. I'm going to take my little mini boss here. I don't know if you guys have used this little one. If you haven't seen it before, it's got this tiny little plate because it's so little, and then it's got the little cutting plates. So then I'm just going to put my paper on. So a lot of our dies, lots and lots and lots of our dies fit on this. The only unfortunate thing is, like, your standard embossing folders don't fit. There are some mini ones that fit, but the standard size ones don't. So just be aware of that. So now I have two options. I can cut this whole thing out and then come back and move it, or I can cut a part of it. And the way you cut a part of it is you slide your plate to where you want it to cut. So say there, and then you just roll it through, and it'll only cut to that point where my plate ends. And as you can see, I've got a partially cut label. So you could cut it all out and then move your die, but I prefer this way, and then your paper's not moving as much. I have a bigger piece of paper to work with. So then now, all I have to do is line up my lines into the grooves and put it to about the distance that I want it. And then, oops, I think I moved it here because I've got it in there. Okay. So it's kind of starting to curl, so it might be a little harder. I might have to, if you have this same problem You could tape it down with washi tape, but I'm just gonna put this on like this, run it to here because it's already cut to a certain point, so I don't need that plate cutting. Oh, it's not catching it. Come on. Catch, come on, plate. Yeah, come on. This is not good for... Oh, there we go. Okay. Caught it eventually. So there you go. So now I've got a nice short little label from my long label, and as you can see, it starts to bend, especially if you cut it part way. It does tend to bend it because these are rockered, so just be aware of that. It doesn't wreck it. It might make it a little harder too, but as you run it through fully, it'll straighten out again. So anyways, that's how you can adjust some of your dies to fit other things that you would like to fit. So hopefully that is a new, something new today, and I hope that you like the stamp set as much as I do, because I'd never noticed it. You've done, yeah, with the rectangular stitch dies. You can, like, I do that all the time with those. It's a little harder with the stitching edge around it to try and get those stitches in the right place, but usually it locks in pretty good and goes pretty well. So yeah, that's what I have for you today, since I don't have much. I hope I will be back with all my goodies next week, and we'll continue on with our W's and our watercolor pencils. Yeah, if you ever have any questions, let me know. If you need anything, let me know, and we will see you next week. Hopefully you guys have a great week, nice summer weather, and we'll see you next week. Bye.